In 1991, German hikers found Ötzi the Iceman in the Ötztal Alps, which are on the boundary between Austria and Italy. Since then, he has been the focus of several investigations, making him maybe the most closely examined person in history. These investigations have painted a picture of life during the Copper Age 5,300 years ago. It is thought that his 61 tattoos, which are placed in lines and crosses on his wrists, legs, and lower back, functioned as an early type of acupuncture, probably to relieve arthritic or joint discomfort. His garments were an exquisite example of antique craftsmanship. Shoes insulated with grass for warmth, leather leggings, a loincloth, a goatskin garment made from the hides of several sheep and goats, and a bear skin cap. All of them were painstakingly made to withstand the mountain cold. His last meal was discovered by analyzing the contents of his stomach. Ibex, red deer, and acorn wheat, an early domesticated grain, indicate a diet that combined the new agricultural techniques with the traditional hunter-gatherer way of life. According to his genome, he had a hereditary propensity to cardiovascular illness, was lactose intolerant, unable to digest dairy, and had lineage linked to Anatolian farmers who immigrated to Europe circa 7000 BC. He was a skilled outdoor enthusiast, as seen by his collection of tools and weaponry. He carried a copper axe and a quiver containing 14 arrows, though only 2 were finished and ready to fire. He also carried a flint-bladed knife with an ashwood handle, a yew-long bow that was still unfinished, and 2 birch bark containers. Most hauntingly, Ötzi's death was no accident. An arrowhead lodged in his left shoulder revealed he met a violent end. Just when it seemed the Iceman had given up all his secrets, a new revelation in his story is opened, one that challenges our very understanding of human evolution. For a long time, scientists believed that contemporary humans' slim, elegant ribcage was a derived or distinctive feature that distinguished us from our more robust ancestors, such the old Homo erectus or the stocky Neanderthal. For a long time, scientists believed that contemporary humans' slim, elegant ribcage was a derived or distinctive feature that distinguished us from our more robust ancestors, such the old Homo erectus or the stocky Neanderthal. The ribcage, also known as the thorax, is a bony structure made composed of the spine, sternum, and ribs that supports and allows respiration while shielding the heart and lungs. Based on the earliest reconstructions of fossils such as the Nariotomy boy, a 1.5 million-year-old Homo erectus skeleton from Kenya, this theory suggested that Homo sapiens developed a lightweight, graceful body plan, maybe to improve efficient movement or sustain an upright position for extended travel. However, this story has been demolished by a pioneering 2025 study in communications biology, which put Ötzi's ribcage at the center of a paradigm-shifting finding. Using sophisticated 3D digital modeling and geometric morphometrics, a scientific technique that measures the size and shape of biological components by positioning exact landmarks on digital images and examining their spatial relationships, the researchers recreated Ötzi's ribcage. The process of rebuilding Ötzi's ribcage was difficult. Because he was lying prone in the glacier, the ice that kept his body intact for 5,300 years also bent his ribs dorso-ventrally toward his back and belly. The end product was a computerized representation of Ötzi's ribcage that retained the globular shape typical of Homo sapiens, but was larger and more barrel-chested than those of many contemporary people, with a smaller upper chest and a wider lower chest. According to the researchers, this equivocal thorax was a special adaptation for Ötzi's life of seasonal mountain transhumans, but it was neither completely slim nor incredibly robust. Around 3,300 BC, during the Chalcolithic period, a period of transition when copper and stone tools were becoming more and more common in Europe, Ötzi lived. Seasonal alpine transhumans, who alternate between lowlands and highlands according to the changing of the seasons, were a part of his way of life. AI most likely migrated to high alpine regions over 3,200 meters in the spring and summer to hunt or herd, withdrawing to softer valleys in the winter to avoid the bitter cold. This rigorous way of life necessitated a body that could endure long walks with heavy loads, such as his copper axe, flint dagger quiver of 14 arrows, and birch bar containers for carrying supplies, as well as freezing temperatures that could drop below -10 degrees Celsius, and thin air, where oxygen levels drop due to lower atmospheric pressure. In the oxygen-deficient Alps, where physical activity requires more oxygen, his ribcage's increased size and barrel-like shape improved lung capacity to enable deeper breathing. In keeping with Bergman's rule, an ecological principle that states that animals in colder climates prefer to have greater body sizes to reduce heat loss by minimizing surface area relative to volume, it also assisted in retaining body heat during chilly alpine nights. Yet its globular shape, wider at the base and narrower at the top, unlike the flatter, wider thoraces of Neanderthals, ensured metabolic efficiency in the warmer lands, where excessive bulk could lead to overheating. This made Ötzi's ribcage a versatile compromise for a man who lived between two worlds. Although Ötzi's unique ribcage helped him survive the harsh alpine environment, unfortunately for him, it could not save him from his violent end. Forensic evidence paints a grim picture. An arrow struck his left shoulder, severing the subclavian artery and causing blood loss. Although recent studies have shown that the blood loss was minimal and likely not fatal. Instead, he fell, became incapacitated, and froze to death. But in a twist of fate, his violent end led to the remarkable preservation of his body, ultimately helping scientists uncover a new theory of evolution that challenges the idea of a single uniform human body type, and instead highlights how our species is physically adapted to different climates and lifestyles. To support this theory, the researchers made comparisons to other ancient individuals, which revealed a spectrum of Homo sapiens adaptations. Nazlet Kater, 38,000 years old from Egypt, had a small cylindrical ribcage suited for heat dissipation in an arid climate, reflecting a life of intense labor, possibly mining church. Halo, 23,000 years old from Israel, also had a slender cylindrical thorax adapted for foraging in the temperate Levant. Doli Vistanis, 30,000 years old from the Czech Republic, possessed a massive ribcage nearly as large as the Neanderthals, but wider, built for heat retention during the last glacial maximum. The Neanderthals, Kabara, 260,000 years old, and Shanidar, 350,000 years old, had stocky, flat thoraces for cold climates, while the Nario-Kotomi boy, a 1.5 million-year-old Homo erectus, had a robust juvenile ribcage. These comparisons show that Homo sapiens' ribcage morphology varies with climate. Unlike the uniformly slender bow plan, the structural or skeletal blueprint of an organism once assumed with intermediate thorax, reflecting his unique alpine adaptation. The findings from this study change how we understand human evolution. Scientists used to believe that all Homo sapiens evolved with a slim body shape or bow plan. But Ötzi's ribcage proves that's not true. His body, along with other ancient fossils, shows that human rib cages came in different shapes and sizes, depending on factors like climate, lifestyle, and ancestry. This suggests that similar body shapes can evolve in different ways, possibly due to diet, hard physical work, or random genetic changes. These discoveries open up new questions about how climate, genetics, and daily life shaped the bodies of our ancestors. The story of Ötzi, which began as a curious tale of a frozen mummy, has evolved into a profound lesson in human evolution. His story, and those of the other ancient individuals studied alongside him, tells us that there is no single blueprint for a Homo sapiens body. Our species has always been a mosaic of forms, shaped by the diverse climates and lifestyles we have encountered throughout our long history. Slender rib cages, it seems, are not a defining feature of our species, but rather one end of a wide spectrum of human variation. As more studies are conducted, Ötzi will no doubt continue to reveal new secrets about our past. His frozen body, preserved for over 5 millennia, remains one of the most extraordinary time capsules ever discovered. If you've enjoyed this video, then you'll definitely enjoy the video showing on your screen right now. Click now, and we will see you on the next one.